On October 30th, 2023, a force of unprecedented magnitude hit Atlanta, Georgia. A hurricane, an earthquake, a bolt of lightning. No, it was TikTok's favorite food reviewer, Keith Lee.
Fresh off the plane, ATL, the first place we went to is Atlanta Breakfast Club. I got it, let's try it, and rate it 1 through 10.
Keith Lee is a food reviewer known for his no-frills critiques. He mostly orders his food to go or has his family order for him to prevent special treatment. People were excited when he announced he'd be visiting Atlanta on the next stop of his food tour, but that excitement was quickly tempered after Keith Lee's first dining experience in Atlanta was plagued with a peculiar set of rules.
The customer service was interesting. While the people were nice, the rules they had set were very unique to me. We initially tried to do takeout, but when we came in, they said we couldn't sit down, and there was no space at the bar for us to stand. So we had to stand outside and order our food, and then we decided we just gonna dine in. But 2 people in our party stepped out for a second, because again, we fresh off the plane, so everybody was trying to get situated. The waitress, again, she was nice, but she told us she couldn't take any orders, or she couldn't do anything until everybody sat down. No water, no coffee, no drink orders, no nothing. She also said they can only do 1 order, and there's no add-ons.
Nevertheless, Keith Lee persisted in the typical fashion of his takeout food reviews, commenting on the texture, flavor, and seasoning of each dish with his signature level-headed sincerity.
It needs jelly for sure. It's buttery, it's salty, it's a good biscuit. I just can't swallow it. It's dry.
Despite being nearly suffocated by a dry biscuit, Lee remained gracious as always, but there was a hint of uncertainty in his sign-off.
For the first stop in Atlanta, I'm very interested to see what the rest of this trip holds. God bless you, have an amazing day, y'all be safe.
He seemed to sense that his experience wasn't a bug, but a feature in the Atlanta restaurant scene, and he wasn't wrong. It wasn't the quality of the food, but the quality of the customer service that became the prevailing subject of Keith Lee's reviews.
Yesterday, me and my family were at the One Music Festival. Somebody who works with Candy Birds walked up to us and said they've been trying to reach us since we got to Atlanta. He said he'd been constantly emailing me and constantly DMing me for me to come to Old Lady Gang. I got it, let's try it, and rate it 1 through 10. As you can see, I don't have any bags in my hand. Me and my family are in Atlanta, and currently we are at the Real Milk and Honey. I got it, let's try it, and rate it 1 through 10. As you can see, I don't have any bags in my hand.
Atlanta! How you out here fumbling Keith Lee? Here are the 6 things your restaurant should have learned by having Keith Lee up in your city.
My city of Atlanta is on blast now that Keith Lee is here exposing these restaurants. First of all, there should not be rules to attend a regular restaurant. It's not even a fine dining restaurant.
Hundreds of people co-signed Keith Lee's experience. Even Cardi B said that it seems like restaurants in Atlanta don't even want to make money because of how unnecessarily difficult it is to order food there.
You could barely order in Atlanta restaurants. Like you go like, hey, I would like to make an order. Oh yeah, we don't take orders. We don't take orders. It gets to the point that I literally have to I have to tell like people that order food for me, like, can you just name drop my name?
Many people heralded Keith Lee as having exposed Atlanta's clubified restaurant culture.
$18 cocktails, 20% added gratuity, music so loud I can't even hear myself think, shitty service. What is going on?
The thing is, I think restaurants have noticed the success of these clubs and adopted some of their strategies and marketing strategies for their own restaurants. And you notice this when you go to restaurants there and elsewhere where, you know, there's bottle service, there's hookah being offered, there's arbitrary dress codes, there isn't an option of making reservations, so you've got to wait outside in line.
And while this culture is prevalent in Atlanta, it brought to the forefront many people's experiences with poor customer service, specifically Black people's less than stellar experiences at Black-owned businesses.
Well, in the middle of all the Black business discourse that's going on right now, my braider canceled on me.
My man's experience in Atlanta has really hurt my heart, and it's triggered some feelings I've had from my own experiences with Black businesses.
This conversation has been happening on the internet for a while now, specifically in the context of hairstylists.
You want to talk about crazy hairstylists? When I first moved to Atlanta, this girl faked a car accident so she wouldn't have to do my hair.
When I tell y'all, look at my head right now. Look at my head. Like, I cannot make this shit up.
So I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story time when an Atlanta hairdresser boyfriend chased me at the house with a butcher knife.
I feel like I've seen it all at this point, from hot takes to horror stories about customer service at Black-owned businesses. I do want to say that on the internet, negativity and controversy is what gets the most attention, so these subpar experiences are not representative of all Black-owned businesses. Also, it goes without saying, but this discourse should not be taken as an opportunity to be racist or anti-Black. And while most Black-owned business controversy on social media is eyes pointed to restaurants and hairstylists, these sectors are not representative of Black-owned businesses as a whole. The greatest number and share of majority Black-owned businesses are in the healthcare and social assistance sector. Fun fact. Disclaimers being said, I do think this is a topic worth examining. I myself have had experiences as a Black customer at Black businesses that resemble what I'm seeing online, and it is validating to see that people are talking about this. The Keith Lee Atlanta discourse got me thinking about the power dynamics at play when a Black customer patronizes a Black business. And this TikTok in particular is what inspired me to further explore it.
So the real Keith Lee touched down in Atlanta, and he's been exposing what we've been talking about in Atlanta for the longest time, prompting think pieces galore about these crazy house rules and horrible customer service. But nobody is talking about the crux of the issue, which is that Black people don't think other Black people deserve good customer service.
The creator goes on to explain that there are great Black-owned businesses and great Black customers all over the country, so the problem isn't necessarily with one or the other, but she believes that issues arise when those Black businesses serve Black customers. It's why Atlanta, a city whose population is nearly 50% Black, has been ground zero of this debate. But even outside of Atlanta, there is some truth to it. This creator points to your local Popeyes.
Every city has a subset of the Atlanta experience. And what is it? Popeyes. That is typically Black people serving Black people, and it gives you a microcosm of this Atlanta experience. The Popeyes employees are so quick to get belligerent, so quick to get angry, so quick to get aggressive over you basically asking them to do their jobs.
Welcome to Popeyes. How can I help you, sir?
Can I get a 3-piece with fries and mashed potatoes and with gravy on the side?
Yes, sir. Spicy.
Yes, sir! Move here! What do you want? What do you want?
And the customers can be very out of line as well. But why are the employees so quick to jump to anger? Why did they start off on the bad foot? It's because of the population they're serving. When you ask for basic things like extra sauce, they feel like you're not entitled to those things. They don't have to be kind. They don't have to be nice. Now, the reason this stays contained is because most times we don't own the franchise. We're just working at the franchise. So there's only so belligerent, so extra the employee is going to get. But Atlanta is proof positive of what happens when that Popeyes attitude gets taken to the very top of the food chain.
She goes on to explain that the Popeyes effect is only exacerbated when Black people are the ones who actually own the business, because some Black business owners believe the worst of their Black customers before they even show up. It's why Atlanta restaurants have, in the words of Keith Lee, interesting rules, like no adding anything to your order. The creator acknowledges that some of these customer service issues, like long wait times and lack of online ordering options, may stem from a scrappy small business's budget, but she says it extends beyond mom and pop restaurants and into some well-known and financed establishments in Atlanta. Old Lady Gang, for example, is a restaurant owned by Real Housewife Kandi Burruss, and Keith Lee didn't eat there because of the absurd wait time.
I think a lot of these Black business owners in Atlanta particularly go in with the idea that they're going to cut corners because they are serving a population that doesn't deserve the best. We really need to unpack our internalized racism on this stuff.
This TikTok really resonated with me and put into words something I felt but wasn't able to articulate. Being treated poorly as a Black customer in a Black business still feels anti-Black. But getting even standard customer service is not something that Black people in America have had a long history with. White-owned businesses have been treating Black customers poorly long before and after the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and I think this has impacted the behavior of Black customers. For example, the fact that Black people on average tip less. When waiters expect skimpy gratuities, they resist serving Black customers, or they provide a poorer service, which discourages Black people from patronizing table service restaurants. There's also the economic disparity. Black people on average have always had much less income and wealth than whites, so tipping standards that seem commonplace to people who have the money to dine out at nice restaurants may be novel to others. In one study, 35.9% of African Americans identified the 15 to 20% tipping range as the norm, from versus 72.4% of whites. Because of this gratuity gap, I think it's very possible that even Black-owned businesses expect the worst of their customers, leading to poor service and then poor tips, and the cycle continues. This has always been a taboo topic, so I think the current discourse we're seeing about service as a Black customer, specifically at Black businesses, is endlessly interesting, and that's what I want to explore in today's video. First, let's elaborate on the Popeyes effect. Popeyes, a fast fried chicken chain, is notorious for its bad customer service. Most fast food chains aren't known for the quality of their service. McDonald's is known for its perpetually broken ice cream machine. Dunkin' is known for making the same drink 10 different ways. Chick-fil-A is known for being closed when you need it most. But Popeyes, more than most of its peers, seems to be associated with chronically bad service. It's also a restaurant that has traditionally served urban markets, aka most of its customers are Black. Fast food is typically taken to go or ordered through a drive-through window. I didn't need to tell you that. This format tends to cultivate an employee to customer relationship that is focused on completing the transaction as soon as possible, because that's the point of fast food. Of course, low wages and high turnover plays a huge role in the service or lack thereof at all fast food restaurants, but Popeyes still manages to be infamous for its bad service. And as the TikTok I referenced earlier theorized, it could be because Black employees don't believe that Black customers are entitled to niceness or even an extra sauce. There's no way to prove that this is empirically true, but someone should do a study on it. In the meantime, there is no shortage of anecdotes about terrible Popeyes experiences. I think it also has something to do with where Popeyes are located. Popeyes can be frequently found in food swamps, areas within food deserts where grocery stores and healthy options are sparse and fast food is abundant. And this constricted, unhealthy food market isn't an accident, but a direct result of racial segregation. In food swamps, sit-down restaurants are hard to come by. It's mostly drive-through to-go eateries. If these employees have primarily lived and worked in a place where fast food is all that's available, maybe less than patient service is normalized. As Popeyes has expanded, it started to reach out of its traditionally Black niche and appeal to a wider audience of customers. So I would be interested to see if the quality of service changes as the race of its employees and customers does. At the end of the day, the Popeyes effect persists because of poor management from the top down and lack of vetting and training employees. But Popeyes knows who their customer base is, and maybe they haven't prioritized good service for that reason. On the other hand, when I think of a fast restaurant that has primarily Black employees and primarily non-Black customers, Sweetgreen comes to mind. Founded in 2007 by 3 Georgetown students, Sweetgreen was created to fill the gap in the market for fast, fresh, and healthy food. If you've never been to one, think Chipotle, except they only make salads and don't sell soda, unless it's like artisanal kombucha. Sweetgreen is also infamous for being located in exclusively white, affluent neighborhoods. At the end of 2018, 95% of Sweetgreen's 89 nationwide locations were located in predominantly white zip codes with an average income of about $97,000. I couldn't find race-based employee statistics, but if you have been to a Sweetgreen, at least in New York, it's hard not to notice that most of the employees are people of color and overwhelmingly Black, while the customer base of Sweetgreen is primarily white-collar white people, and you don't hear them complaining about the service. Popeyes and Sweetgreen are 2 very different businesses, so it's not a perfect comparison, but the point I want to make is that there are very different power dynamics between Black employees serving primarily white customers and Black employees serving primarily Black customers. I don't think this is consciously on the forefront of people's minds when they are working at or patronizing a business, but what's at stake, the customer's experience and satisfaction, seems to be of much more importance when a Black employee serves non-Black people versus when a Black employee serves Black people. I'm not saying that you'll automatically get different or worse service if you as a Black customer are being served by a Black employee. In fact, I have been served probably exclusively by Black employees at places like Sweetgreen or the Apple Store, and I've had great experiences. But I do think there is a shift in the dynamic when the employee and customer base are primarily Black. In Black American culture, there is a sense of familiarity that at times is really nice, and it's very effective at cultivating community. If you share no blood relation, you are someone's auntie or brother or sister. Even if they are a complete stranger, it's a normal way to greet someone. However, I think that same familiarity can blur boundaries when it comes to professionalism and providing a service. Just because we're brothers and sisters doesn't mean it's okay for a hair appointment to start an hour late. And that's what I want to talk about next, the other main sector outside of Popeyes where Black people are serving Black customers, hair. I found an interesting article from the New York Times written in 2001 about the influx of African braiders in Harlem. I think it was just a really cool article to find because the hair braiding market isn't something that is widely reported on, especially in a mainstream outlet like the Times. So this is what it says. 2 decades ago, a Black American looking to get her hair braided into a head of plaits thinner than a knitting needle could spend $100. It could, after all, take up to 12 hours to get the job done. But African immigrants arriving in New York began to undercut the prices charged by African American salon owners. The same slender braids can now be had for as little as $125, a lot less than a generation ago when adjusted for inflation. As more African Americans opened braiding salons, today there are roughly 130 in the city's telephone directories. Some African Americans had to expand into other hair services like colors, cuts, and curls. Others went out of business. But as the waves of immigration continued, it seemed that too many Africans had the same idea, opening shops faster than it takes to get from Nigeria to New York. Francine Toku, an African American who owns Afrogenics, an Upper West Side salon, started off just doing braids, but she has expanded into services like chemical hair straightening and weaves because of competition from Africans. Now, only 40% of her clients ask for braids, which costs $125 for simple cornrows to $2,500 for dreadlock extensions. Some people are willing to pay her prices, Ms. Tuku said, because they are concerned about sanitation and braiding practices in many African-owned shops. And some of her customers, Ms. Tuku said, complain that braiders at the African salons have used dirty combs or braid too tightly, end quote. I feel like even today, this is still one of the primary complaints people have about African braiding shops. They will take your edges. Too tight braids have caused many women, myself included, to avoid box braids from African braiders, but in recent years, a new style of braids have entered the market, knotless braids. Knotless braids look very similar to box braids, except they lay flatter on the head, and one of the biggest selling points is that they feel much lighter and put much less tension on your scalp. It's hard to say who exactly invented knotless braids, but they originated out of an interest to better protect natural hair and blew up on social media. I think this is what helped jumpstart the businesses of so-called IG hair braiders, younger, tech-savvy entrepreneurs who are equally versed in ring lighting as hair braiding. They have been a welcome addition to the hair braiding scene. They are more digitally accessible than traditional African hair braiders because they have websites and Instagram pages where you can message them for information on services and see their previous work. They have clear price lists and online booking where you can secure appointments months in advance, unlike walk-in braiding shops where wait times can vary. Some of them are scrappy and braid out of their homes or will even come to yours. While these features have made hair braiding more accessible and convenient for many, the IG hair braider experience is not without its drawbacks. Several people have taken to social media to complain about the stylist's lack of communication, last-minute cancellations, and lengthy rule lists. It seems like IG hairstylist horror stories have become a small but mighty niche on social media.
So guys, I had a silk press yesterday. This is not giving me silk vibes, it's giving me polyester with a dash of cotton.
Cousin, come look at this bullshit, because these stylists have lost their mind. I seen this on Twitter, read this. Pause.
I'm suing this hairstylist for my deposit back after she overslept during my appointment time.
These accounts resemble Keith Lee's struggle to order food in Atlanta. Of course, these experiences are not representative of all IG braiders, but sometimes you have to wonder if the Popeyes effect is at play. The braiders are primarily Black Americans, as are their customers, so does this impact the level of customer service and professionalism they think that they're entitled to? I feel like there's been a small resurgence of people going from the new age IG braiders back to traditional African braiding shops because they're tired of the higher prices, rules, and sometimes lack of professionalism.
Me and my best friend decided to go back to the Africans to get her hair done, and honestly, 10 out of 10.
Okay, story time. So yesterday my braid appointment got canceled, right? So what do? I look up the motherfucking Africans.
Now, I don't think people's positive experiences at African braiding shops necessarily disproves the Popeyes hypothesis. In comparison, at African braiding shops, as the name suggests, the braiders are West African immigrants, while the customers are primarily Black Americans. In this setup, the Popeyes effect doesn't exactly apply due to the cultural and language differences. So what is the customer versus service provider power dynamic at play? In my opinion, it resembles a nail salon more than anything. Like African braiding shops, most nail salons are operated by a distinct ethnic group, Asian immigrants. Language and cultural barriers are prone to foster mutual misunderstanding between customers and providers, but the power dynamic is also similar because many immigrants' view of Black Americans has been informed through a racist, white supremacist lens, one that paints us as undeserving. The same is true of the internalized racism that fuels the Popeyes effect. Okay, so honestly, I don't really know how to wrap up this video. All of the things I'm talking about are really based on people's individual experiences. At the end of the day, there isn't a lot of data that says like why people are acting like this or if this is even a true phenomenon, the Popeyes effect, right? It's all based on people's experiences. So I kind of just want to open a conversation about that. And I would love to hear everyone's thoughts below. Since I don't really know how to end this, I figured I would just leave you with a little piece of fun entertainment of my own personal hair horror story, which is only funny to me in retrospect. But okay, one time I was getting my hair braided and I really wanted to get blue braids because I wanted to look like Coraline, because Coraline is one of my favorite movies. So I found this dark blue hair color on like Amazon, and I like found some braider on IG, of course. And I booked with her and I was like, oh, can you braid my hair with this hair? I sent her the link and she was like, yeah. And I was like, how many packs do I need? Like, is this amount enough? And she was like, yeah, that's fine. And then I go there and she starts braiding my hair and she's like really complaining about the quality of the hair. She's like, oh, I can't really braid with this hair, like it's slippery or whatever. Yeah, but you told me I could get it, so okay. She's doing my hair, she's doing the braids, whatever. And then there's like a good, probably quarter chunk of my hair that has not been finished, and the hair has run out. And my problem is I asked her how much hair I needed and she said the amount I sent her was perfectly fine. So the hair had ran out and I have like a whole quarter of my hair just like out. And she's like, oh, the hair ran out, like you need to get more hair. I need to get more hair. So yeah, this lady sends me down on the streets of Flatbush in search of some hair. And I finally find a shop, and of course they do not have any hair that is the exact color that I wanted, because I got this hair specifically from Amazon for a reason. So yeah, I had to buy some mismatched hair and still have her put it in, and I was really not happy about that. Yeah, that sucked. Leave your horror stories below, or don't. Leave your 2 cents. I'm interested to see what you all think. And again, this is not an opportunity to bash Black people. I just kind of want to start a dialogue, start a conversation, see what people think, etc. And yeah. Okay, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!